name Nigeria is coined from two words, Niger and Nigeria. The country is made up of several ethnic. Several accounts put them at more than 200. This underscores the rich and numerous diversity that exists in the land. On January the 1st, 1900, about 15 African to Western Africans of influence that includes and received international recognition.
Protector world and the Federation of the independence was in sight. State on October 1, 1960, a promise that was kept.
Today, October the 1st, 2020, makes it exactly 60 years, what is referred to as a Diamond Jubilee, that Nigeria gained independence from Britain. This has brought up the question and the lines along which we will have a conversation today, 60 years after 1960. So far, how far?
You are tuned into the Integrity Station, Splash 106.7 FM Abeokuta. Welcome to our Independence Day special and broadcast of all our programs today. And this is Panorama.
Joining us today, we have live in the studio former Secretary to the Government of Ogun State between 2003 and 2007, a former of Mines and Steel Development. And yes, as we proceed with this, that was between 2007 and 2008, an ambassador designate under the current administration. We have Chief Tunji Ishola with us in the studio. Good morning to you. It's good to have you.
Good morning. Nice to be with you. Thank you for the opportunity given to me.
Good morning.
Listeners at home, I say good morning to you all. Happy Independence Anniversary.
I am Gbenga Fayehun, by the way.
And I am Odera, Otaru.
Of course, you heard the voice of our guest already, and we'll get straight into this. This is our Independence Day special. You can be a part of this experience live on Facebook at Splash FM 1067. At Splash FM 1067. Feel free to be a part of that experience. Share the video as much as possible. And of course, drop your comments as the conversation progresses and proceeds.
You can also respond to our tweets on our social media platforms at Splash FM 1067 on Twitter and on Facebook, like Gbenga earlier mentioned, at Splash FM 1067 Abeokuta.
Before we proceed with the conversation, let's pay some bills. And when we get back, we'll get talking with this. Stay with us. With work and memos and meetings, deadlines, hustle and bustle. Does this sound like a typical afternoon? How about we flip the script, music?
I just flip the switch. I don't know nobody else.
Entertainment gists, top 10 countdown,
Number 1,
and more fun stuff. Tune in for Splash Extra every weekday and Sundays from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Yeah, you heard it right. 3 solid hours to lighten up your afternoon on the Integrity Station, Splash 106.7 FM. Let's have fun while you work.
Ẹ kú àjọyọ̀, Nàìjíríà olómìnira pé 60 ọdún. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, Adron Homes ń ṣe ayẹyẹ 60 ọdún tí Nàìjíríà gbòmìnira pẹ̀lú 6060 Empowerment Initiative. Nínú èyí tí gbogbo oníbàárà wa titun yóò gbádùn ẹ̀dínwó ìdá 20 nínú 100 ìyẹn 20% discount lórí gbogbo àwọn ilẹ̀ Adron tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn, ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, Ìbàdàn, Àbújá, Òṣogbo àti Nasarawa. Kò tán síbẹ̀ o, gbogbo oníbàárà wa tún lè gbádùn ẹ̀bùn ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ àti ẹ̀bùn àtàtà bí ọkọ̀ ayọ́kẹ́lẹ́, kẹ̀kẹ́ márúwá, ẹ̀rọ ìṣerun, ìyẹn standing hair dryer, ẹ̀rọ ìránṣọ, ẹ̀rọ ìlọta, lápútọ̀ọ̀pù, kílípà ìgẹrun bábà àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Fún àlàyé ẹ pè 0903 469 1519 tàbí 003 756 3846. Adron Homes ló ń ṣayẹyẹ 60 òmìnira Nàìjíríà. Lápapọ̀, a máa mú àlá rẹ wá sí ìmúṣẹ lówó tí ò gani lára.
I
150,000 naira báyìí sí 75,000 naira. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti October 1 títí October 15. Tó bá ti wá di October 16. Títí di ìparí oṣù kẹwàá. 100,000 naira péré lówó àkọ́kọ́ tí wàá kọ́ sí. Tó bá ti san ìdajì owó ilẹ̀. Wàá gba ilẹ̀ rẹ lọ́wọ́ kan ní. Ẹ pè tẹlifóònù nọ́mbà yìí 090-3377-3189. Independent promo. Oṣù kẹwàá nìkan ni ó.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. Thank you so much for staying with us. The Independence Day special and broadcasts on Splash 106.7 FM, the Integrity Station. This is Panorama. We have with us in the studio Chief Tunji, Ishola, and Ambassador Designators. We did read out his profile earlier on. Let's get into this, shall we? The nation has been through thick and thin in 60 years after independence. What time would you regard as the most critical time in that 60-year period, and why? And I'm thinking to give you several options that I have highlighted here. Is it the 1965 national elections that was widely disputed? Insinuations exist that this set the country on the path to civil war. The first bloody military coup of 1966 that eventually culminated in General Johnson Aguiyi-Ironsi's seizing power. Or is it the civil war and the agitation for the Republic of Biafra from 1967 to 1970? Or the postponement of return to civilian rule from 1974 to 1976 by General Yakubu Gowon when he was head of state? Or the assassination of Brigadier General Murtala Ramat Mohammed in February 1976. Many see him as someone who would have changed the fortunes of the nation. The change of the constitution from the British-styled parliamentary government to the presidential one currently being practiced after Lieutenant General Olusegun Obasanjo then set the country on the path of a return to civilian rule. And is it the annulment of the June 12, 1993 elections, or would you say it's the return to civilian rule in 1999?
Well, the most challenging period in our history was the issue of the Civil War, where we lost over 3 million people. The greatest asset of any nation are the people. The life of every individual in a nation matters a lot. So, and there is no challenge that we've had since independence that we lost people in that range. So, as far as I'm concerned, that was the most challenging period for independence.
Do you think it was avoidable, the Civil War?
Yes, it was avoidable. And these are the kind of things that some of us talk about now. We should all have sense of history. War is usually the last option. And the most challenging part of it is that at the end of the day, you are still going to go back on the round table for peace talk.
After the war.
After the war. And even in military strategy, it's usually said that the best way to win a war is not to fire a single bullet and not to lose anybody. Because you will still have your arms and ammunition, as far as resources, you still have them intact, and you still have your people intact. So the issue is a lot of misunderstanding and conflicts usually lead to this. And we can't afford conflict as human beings. It's just like even in our, nuclear family, father, mother, the children. Because you have issue with your wife today, you're going to divorce her or send her out, and you marry another one, you send her out as well. So what I'm saying is that there are so many conflict resolution mechanisms that that we really have in place that people don't explore. And that's why war is not even an option, because at the end of the day, you start buying arms, you start killing yourself, and it will still not solve the problem. like it did not solve the problem then.
How about that point? The 5 that was one time and different road back at the peak at that time.
Yes, leaders have said that the of it is not worth of any individual. To take it context of or is your own family that got exterminated. Of democracy is the ability to resolve differences. Even in us, everywhere, conflicts are. I must say this: we are Africans. In most cases, we don't listen to our elders. When you listen to elders, there is hardly anything that is happening now that they have not gone through. And that is what is missing in what is happening now. Look at the experience of people going on self-determination. How far have they been able to go? When you are leading struggle, you must look at the leaders. Who are the leaders? Before people can really follow. So what I mean in essence is, yes, there was disputed election, and the outcome of the election, there are mechanisms in place to resolve such. Look at the issue of June 12, for example, June 12 crisis. Our leaders really rose up. We didn't take up arms. Unfortunately, we lost the winner of that election, but the Southwest was able to present its position, at minimal cost. That is conflict resolution. We will have gone to war. A lot of our people have been killed, and we may not even still get the problem resolved.
All right, we're able to catch up with a lot of people on the street yesterday. Our reporters were sent out, and they caught up with a lot of citizens of this state and their thoughts about the 60 years independence anniversary being celebrated today. Take a listen to what they had to say.
You see the situation, you see everything. There's no any development in Nigeria. So Nigeria has passed through many things. How are we going to make it? To it, go on your suffer, increasing of petroleum, increasing of electric tariff. What are we enjoying in this nation? Look at the citizens, they are suffering. So that is it. There's no any development since 1960. So we are passing through many things. So that will help us.
Nigeria is 60 now. A man of 60 years, it's a no-brainer for him to have achieved something worthwhile. And Nigeria hasn't done that. Nigeria has continued to sink in a quagmire of corruption, politically, social and economic brouhaha. And that is what Nigeria is facing right now. Definitely, I should be pessimistic about Nigeria's current situation.
Nigeria is not, to me, it's not moving forward. It's just there. Do you understand? The situation of the country and Buhari and all that. But, well, we just thank God. We thank God for life and we thank God for everything. We hope everything's going to get better.
Nigeria have not attained to where God wants them to attain. We still need to put more energy to ensure that Nigeria gets to the promised land. Nigeria is 60. We have not gotten to where we're supposed to be. Imagine what the economic situation of the country. Imagine the unemployment of graduates and so many factors which have made Nigeria to remain underdeveloped for the past 60 years. But there are many things that the leaders can still make sure they can put in place so that Nigeria can attain to where it ought to be.
The country has not moved forward anyway. I know the president is trying, but unfortunately, the people surrounding him is not making us see the effectiveness of his governance. And because the country has been vastly damaged. It will take more than 4 years of redemption. So, and Nigerians are not used to the fact that it's easier to spoil something, but it takes time to mend it back again. So we're in that process, and because people are hungry, people need money, people need food, and there's no money in the circulation. It's just within the limit, the secluded few that has that kind of money. Majority of the masses are suffering. And once you don't have, you can put food on your table. Nobody cares about what the government is doing. So when you ask average Nigerians at 60, what have we achieved? Nothing. But that does not mean we have not really gone far. We're better in some areas, and there is need for improvement in so many areas.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
You are welcome back to our Independence Day special on Panorama. And you have just listened to Pulse on the Street, the voices of residents of Ogun State and how they feel about development so far in the nation. We still have Chief Tunji Ishola in the studio with us. And in addition to reacting to some of the voices that you heard, whatever opinions you have about them, I also have this question. In certain quarters, there are insinuations that there is really nothing to celebrate, which some of the people that we listened to also insinuated. Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world, a position that it has held onto since overtaking India in June 2018. Now, this is in stark contrast to the economic boom that followed the discovery of oil in the 1970s. And at that time, Nigeria seemed to be the toast of a lot of countries, more so the West African neighbors of the country of Ghana, to the point that there was an influx of Ghanaians to the country. Then, until they were expelled from the country in 1983. You recall the Ghana-Moscow fiasco that happened. Yeah. So what do you make of all of this?
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that we have challenges in this country. And I'm not aware of any country in the world that's not having its own challenges. Right now in America, it's about Biden and Trump. And we all know what the challenges are. So the issue is that, yes, we have challenges. We should have gone better on some issues. But I want to plead with Nigerians for people to say there's nothing to celebrate.
Okay.
That will not be correct. Nigeria of 1960, educated youths, we have.
Some said the graduates at the time then had jobs that were waiting for them to have now.
Yes, they are having generally then and now.
Okay.
Then we used to run a productive economy. Productive. We in terms of even the clothes we wear. I mean, you look at us.
I'm wearing one.
For clothes you wear, in terms of production, places that are related to it. Food we then eat Nigerian food. Food you eat kept in agriculture. And that's so when people have that, rich people, farmers, was bedrock of their. What do we have? Rent-seeking economy. The money is distributed in Abuja to the various. maybe 10 billion. You have and 2. So this shift, that is the problem. Unfortunately, once more attitude. Many of us in the afternoon and maybe fried dodo at night. So you then discover that for everything we consume, there's, it drives demand. The supply chain, people are attracted to go into agric and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So, but what is happening now?
Well, some people would argue that it's not like they're saying there is absolutely no development in Nigeria. Like you've rightly pointed out, even before we came back off air, we were discussing. But the issue is that for 60 years of development, can we really say that we have justified 60 years of development, of independence, development-wise?
Yes, when you look at where we are coming from, I still strongly believe. Unfortunately, many people that are talking now, they didn't have the opportunity to be around then. They only had what happened. There's only some of us that can say, yes, this is what has actually happened. Of course, there are still cause to celebrate. Just locate it within the prism of a family.
Okay.
I mean, let's even take a nuclear family, for example. The father, the mother, maybe 4 children.
Okay.
And the father will be 60 years, and the children will say, in the whole of this family, for the last 6 years, Daddy, what are you celebrating? Of course, that we are even alive. It's worthy of celebration. Look, if you look at some of these, the conflicts in some other nations of the world, the armed conflict, is it Somalia? Is it, so many other countries? The civil war that we survived, is it not worth celebrating? In every situation, you will definitely have things to celebrate. And when you celebrate, that celebration will be thanking God for where you are. And now advert the mind of leaders to the area that you have shortcomings.
Okay.
That is the way to motivate. But to just do a wholesome condemnation, nothing to celebrate, that's not fair. Because the leaders cannot have the burden alone. Even the led. At election, what happened? Are you not the one electing these leaders that you are blaming now? Which leaders have even gone to power without being supported by even the youth? So there's culpability all over the place. So what we need to do is a re-read thinking. Stable democracy. It's the 20 crazy. We elect people who can govern us well, and we know them. So the issue of play. What will be paramount is quality leadership. So once the led, that is number one. When orientation of our economy, when people economy, they produce, they pay taxes. When they pay this, the government will run on their tax. Relationship between the leaders where coming from so all
something that the argument sometimes is along the lines of an enabling environment to allow such innovations to thrive. And people say, or you also get to hear, that such environments have not been created.
Thank you very much. You see, there's one mentality, especially nowadays with a lot of younger ones. This is a kind of get rich quick. I can tell you, and proudly, when I went to study in England, I had challenges of finance. I had to wash toilets. I had to clean offices to see myself through school. How many, younger ones of today will have that challenge and confront it that way? That is the essence of life. So the issue is the enabling environments that we talk about. Of course, they're there. It's just a question of choosing. We want white collar, job offices. I think even in my younger age, I used to hawk, learn the art of, so the
example, a youth of today to survive, much less do something as important as seeing themselves through school.
What I'm saying is not about since it's supporting me. I say challenges.
Okay.
It's not. That is not what I did to pay. It's just to support.
Yes.
But what I'm saying, in essence, is within the context of there is no job that is too little or too small or that is without dignity. There's dignity in labor. You have to earn the money. And that's why I said people should be ready to do what can contribute to the growth of the economy. So you are taking in the context of, yes, they need many jobs to support themselves. When you really look at it, an average Nigerian, what is paramount to an average Nigerian? Not looking for big houses, not looking for cars. They just want a decent living and a decent earning. So I want some of you that are here now, in this radio station, you leave your house at 5 o'clock, coming to resume here. A lot of our younger ones at 8 o'clock, they are still in bed. And what do we have? They start looking for a way to get rich quick. I'm saying there are many of you that are really focused, but there are still a lot that are not focused and don't know what is expected of their contribution to the nation. Because for every little things that everybody does, that is what brings a nation up. He's talking of enabling environment. What kind of enabling environment? How many agri programs has been put in within 1 year, 2 years? People run away. They start looking for greener pasture. It's about riding Okada. It's about things that can fetch you money quick. No economy can grow within that context. I'm sorry to say, the problem that we have in this country is that many times we always enjoy people who massage our egos, who tell lies, who tell half-truths. But if we are not honest with ourselves, we are destroying the future of the nation, which are the youths. So what are we talking about? We must look at, opportunities in any society. And as educated people, education is not about passing exams. It's not about, having a degree. It's about the ability to be able to contribute to the society and develop your own self. So you look at where opportunities exist. To a reasonable extent, look at the way to make sure that the exploitation is harnessed for your own benefit and for the benefit of the nation. And if we do it in various microcosms, that's what makes up our society.
All right, let me take you to 1976, leading up to 1979. Would you say that the change from the parliamentary system of government handed down to the nation and being practiced to the presidential system of government has inhibited progress of the nation? The argument against the change to the presidential government resources then and develop our own pace. Then we have we had then the northern region, and much later the Midwestern region created in 1993 that is largely now what is known as Delta State. Comparison of that change from the parliamentary to presidential.
This situation we can still run a presidential system and have regionalism within that. So, but let me take them one after the other. Parliamentary system, we must appreciate what's brought about the presidential system. Nigeria is a complex society. And if we work within the context of parliamentary system, one of the drawbacks of democracy is the rule of the majority over the minority. We must appreciate that, which means in some, for example, in Ogun State, for example, if it's a majority, if it's parliamentary system, that means one side will always produce the premier and the others will never have the opportunity to do that. And if you take it in the Nigerian context, if you run a parliamentary system, once one region will continuously produce the prime minister. And we will now start having to talk about the complexity of Nigeria, So, and that prime minister will be elected by his own people because they have the figure, and Nigeria will not be able to come together. So, but with a presidential system, since 1999, for example, you had a Southwesterner becoming president, a South-Side person, a Northwestern person. That is the beauty of the presidential system. It gives creates a sense of belonging between all the components of the federation. So, and the cost of unity is so much that if you take it in the context of development, because if there's no unity, there will be no peace. If there's no peace, there can't even be development. So that is the essence of having a presidential system over a parliamentary system. And the essence of regional government that we talked about then, that people have to, all the money that's available. That's why our people are saying, and our leaders are saying, let us run fiscal federalism.
Okay.
Federalism, to me, is the issue and not regionalism, because it means that you are just taking power from Abuja and concentrating power in either Lagos or Ibadan. As far as Southwest concerned, where does that take us? Right now, we have all the various components of the federation. In the Southwest, the former Western region has 8 states. The issue now is, what is each state doing to make sure that the purpose of governance is really actualized? In the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 14B is very clear. The primary purpose of government is in the welfare and security of its citizenry. So how is each state working towards that? What are we doing on agric? What are we doing in citizen reorientation? What are we doing in education? What are we doing in health? And how do we engage citizens? How do we engage stakeholders to make sure that everybody is part of government? So it's the components of the federation that really have to be active within the context of fiscal federalism. I don't envisage a situation whereby people have to go cap in hand to take money from Abuja. Because whatever you take from Abuja cannot sustain, cannot develop the economy. What will develop the economy are the people. And that's the greatest asset. Look at the young ones that we have with brilliant ideas. Give them tools, support them, and you marvel at what they can do. I'm proud of Nigerian youths of today, and even before then, Nigerians are highly resilient people. Once you challenge them, you can see things done better. So it is the various components of the federation, that is the states, and the local government. So we have a situation whereby in many times we keep on saying federal government, the presidency, federal government, president. Let's take the issue of security, for example.
Okay.
Security is a local issue. If somebody breaks into your studio here, there will definitely be an accomplice. If you put 500,000 naira in a drawer here, somebody must know. The thief didn't break in here 1 week ago, yesterday. So security is a local issue. When I was a council chairman, what did I do? I made sure that I set up a peace and security committee in my local government. That committee consists of all the DPOs, the representative of the brigade commander in Alamala Barracks, the head of the immigration in my local government, the head of customs, the one traditional ruler in the local government, the most senior chief imam, the CAN chairman, then the chairman of CDA. So all the segments of society. And what do? Every month, we evaluate the situation on ground in our local government. We envisage, we anticipate, we gather intelligence, we process it. And if there are threats anywhere, we identify it and we do what we need to do. And you can imagine if that is replicated in 774 local government areas. Because security is an issue. We talk of the issue of herdsmen. Does Abeokuta South have to bother about herdsmen? Of course, Odera has to bother about that. So what do we do? But if we are in Abeokuta South and we are talking of herdsmen, what we should be talking about Abeokuta South maybe kidnapping, maybe illegal entry and all sort of it. So the peculiarity of each area, the security challenges of each area differs from one to the other. But if we are not trying to adopt one common solution to all the problems, it's not going to work.
Let me take you back to your earlier statement on the parliamentary system of government, where you opined that a certain group might just be the ones that will keep ruling because they form the majority. But also recall that in 1962, when there was the Action Group and all of those political parties at the time, there was a coalition that was formed with the government at the center and some faction of that Action Group, which eventually led to that factionalization and they having to form alliances, meaning that could also happen in the parliamentary system of government.
You said in the parliamentary system,
yes,
you talked about
you mentioned the fact that the downside to that is the fact that one group will keep ruling.
Yes.
And my point now is there could be coalitions that will be formed that might result to another group arising.
No, it's the coalition that you talked about, the prime minister was still retained by the majority group.
Yes.
So the coalition will have worked. The coalition will have worked if the minority group is giving the prime minister. I've told you, one of the challenges of democracy is the rule of majority over minority. And because if you are talking of a universal adult suffrage, one man, one vote, that means whoever had the votes, especially in our country where the issue of primordial sentiment is still very much, I'm Ijebu, I'm Egba, I'm Ibadan, and, let's vote our own. So at the end of the day, you will not be able, the complexity of Nigeria, Nigerian society will not really be achieved. In places like Britain, people will say, I'm first of all British, before maybe I'm Scot, before I'm English, before I'm Irish, and the rest of it. But in Nigeria here, somebody will say, I'm first of all an Egba man, an Ogun State person, then a Nigerian. So within that, if you have that kind of complexity in the country, you can't start comparing what is happening in Britain. The sense of nationalism in many of this country, for example, somebody will say, I'm an American, before you even start talking of being a Texan or being a New Yorker. But in Nigeria here, some people don't even believe that Nigeria exists as a nation. So until we get to that level, and I strongly believe it may not be this generation, we'll get there. Because there are many things that we can be proud of. Nigeria, there are things that we cannot be proud of.
Well, okay.
All right, we'll have to proceed on the commercial break very shortly. And I think we should just proceed on that break now. When we come back, we'll get to question and have this conversation more with Chief Tunji Ishola, an ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Stay with us right here on Splash 106.7 FM.
Ẹ kú àjọyọ̀ Nàìjíríà olómìnira pé 60 ọdún. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni o, Adron Homes ṣe ayẹyẹ 60 ọdún tí Nàìjíríà gbòmìnira pẹ̀lú 6060 Empowerment Initiative nínú èyí tí gbogbo oníbàárà wa tuntun yóò gbádùn ẹ̀dínwó ìdá 20 nínú 100 ìyẹn 20% discount lórí gbogbo àwọn ilẹ̀ Adron tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn, ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, Ìbàdàn, Àbújá, Òṣogbo àti Nasarawa. Kò tán síbẹ̀ o, gbogbo oníbàárà wa tún lè gbádùn ẹ̀bùn ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ àti ẹ̀bùn àtàtà bí ọkọ̀ ayọ́kẹ́lẹ́, kẹ̀kẹ́ márúwá, ẹ̀rọ ìṣerun, ìyẹn standing hair dryer, ẹ̀rọ ìránṣọ, ẹ̀rọ ìlọta, lápútọ̀ọ̀pù, kílípà ìgẹrun bábà àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Fún àlàyé ẹ pè 0813-928-5946 tàbí 005-956-1941. Adron Homes ló ń ṣayẹyẹ 60 òmìnira Nàìjíríà. Lápapọ̀, a máa mú àlá rẹ wá sí ìmúṣẹ lówó tí ò gani lára.
Is there a part in history that you've missed?
So they're just diverting African minds from their roots, that's all.
Maybe the missing scripts?
In the United States, 14 of our presidents have been Freemasons.
Or even profiling?
Since I came in power, automatically Uganda became revolutionary.
How about some names in the past?
Gaddafi is very popular.
You even get to hear what people had to say about them.
It was so funny because when I got there rehearsal that day, I said to my road manager, I said, how's he going to play my music and he's blind?
Music is a spiritual thing. You don't play with music. If you play with music, you will die young.
A documentary that gives you an insight.
The people like me very much, and the reason why I'm very popular because I always speak to them truth, and if I don't have anything to tell them, I keep quiet.
Eagles Eye. Eagles Eye. Every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. on Splash FM 106.7.
Ìjẹ́ gbogbo ẹni tó rí àǹfààní ló mọ̀ ọ́n lò bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ ilé-iṣẹ́ Righteous Land and Property wọ́n ní ká má dààmú jìnnà àǹfààní rèé agbọ́dọ̀ donílé kọ́dún yìí tó parí gan. Ilẹ̀ wọn Righteous Royal Garden phase 2 olódodo ìrìn ìṣẹ́jú 10 láti Funab dórí ilẹ̀ yìí 300,000 láǹtà tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ́lọ́bà yìí ó ti di 150,000. Ilẹ̀ wọn míì tá a pè ní ìmọ̀nà ńlá Family Garden Alábàtà Town lẹ́yìn àfi kábíyèsí Alábàtà gangan ìṣẹ́jú méjì sí ojúde ni 250,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí à ń tà ní 120,000 naira ẹ san 10,000 naira lórí ilẹ̀ méjèèjì kẹ́sì láǹfààní láti máa kọ́ ilé yín lọ lórí àjọsọ pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ Righteous Land and Property tó wà ní 9 Ìpéjọlá Community Righteous Building Òkèlàntòrò / Ìdíàbà Abẹ́òkúta 08095455932 tàbí 09049424655. Ìparí oṣù kẹwàá làǹfààní ìmọ̀ kò gbọdọ̀ fọ́ ọrù.
Which one be say you know if you trust person like me?
Oh no! Bobo, I know they do. I beg. Your voice don't they change you?
My voice no go change.
Come on for road, Bobo. I beg.
Why you won't wicked me like this? Because man picking body don't calm down.
Bobo, no drag me. Bobo, no touch my skin. I know do. Bobo, Bobo, no. Bobo, no. Bobo, no.
Say no to rain.
Respect her body. Respect her choices. What she's wearing is not an excuse. Consent is key. Say no to rain.
Ìwà ìbàjẹ́ nífipábánilòpọ̀ báwùjọ ò ṣe fojú rẹ̀ wò ó bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ̀sìn ò fààyè gbà òfin ilẹ̀ wa gan ò faramọ́. Ìkànnì ọmọlúàbí Splash 106.7 FM ló ní ìwà ìfipábánilòpọ̀ burúkú jáì yàgò fún kó o má bàa fi mú kàtà òfin.
Consent is by choice.
So do not by force.
A no.
Now no, say no to rain.
Say no to rain.
Ẹ kú àjọyọ̀ Nàìjíríà olómìnira pé 60 ọdún. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni o, Adron Homes ń ṣe ayẹyẹ 60 ọdún tí Nàìjíríà gbòmìnira pẹ̀lú 6060 Empowerment Initiative. Nínú èyí tí gbogbo oníbàárà wa titun yóò gbádùn ẹ̀dínwó ìdá 20 nínú 100 ìyẹn 20% discount lórí gbogbo àwọn ilẹ̀ Adron tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn, ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, Ìbàdàn, Àbújá, Òṣogbo àti Nasarawa. Kò tán síbẹ̀ o, gbogbo oníbàárà wa tún lè gbádùn ẹ̀bùn ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ àti ẹ̀bùn àtàtà bí ọkọ̀ ayọ́kẹ́lẹ́, kẹ̀kẹ́ márúwá, ẹ̀rọ ìṣerun, ìyẹn standing hair dryer, ẹ̀rọ ìránṣọ, ẹ̀rọ ìlọta, lápútọ̀ọ̀pù, kílípà ìgẹrun bábà àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Fún àlàyé ẹ pè 0903 469 1519 tàbí 003 756 3846. Adron Homes ló ń ṣayẹyẹ 60 òmìnira Nàìjíríà. Lápapọ̀, a máa mú àlá rẹ wá sí ìmúṣẹ lówó tí ò gani lára.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama. Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Splash 106.7 FM. We are the integrity station promoting right values. And of course, this is our Independence Day special of Panorama. And we're looking at the topic of the conversation today, Nigeria, 60 years after 1960. So far, how far? Basically. Yeah, that sounds like a greeting.
In any case, we have some comments to read from Twitter. You can still send your comments coming in. From Bolahon Oladimeji P says, is this how... Okay, well, he's upset. Is this how the IBDC are going to celebrate October 1st for us? It has become their tradition never to supply us energy on any festive period or public holiday at Obasanjo Hilltop, Abeokuta. Too bad. Well, we do not know if it is only Obasanjo Hilltop that is affected, but okay.
All right, we have joining us via the phones, Senator Tolu Odebi, Senator representing Ogun West Senatorial District at the 9th Assembly, joining us via the telephone. Good morning to you, Senator Tolu Odebi. Hello? Okay. Okay, we'll try to ensure that there's something wrong with that connection. Okay, we'll have to ensure that the connection is pretty correct. There's something wrong with it. All right, you're reading tweet, just go with it.
Okay. And reading from Oluwatosin Oyedele says Mr. Sarafa has just spoken like a typical Nigerian politician. In his words, followers should also take the blame. Having studied leadership theoretically and practically, I will tell him leadership greed influences followers' parochialism. I am not a fool. Okay, well, Honorable Ademolake Vanguard says, happy birthday, Nigeria. Going forward, we hope our leaders will emphasize on things that unite us instead of our fault lines. With resilience and patriotism, we'll overcome our challenges and eventually earn our deserved respect in the Committee of Nations. God bless Nigeria.
All right, then. So God bless Nigeria. We have joining us now via the telephone, Senator Tolu Odebi, Senator representing Ogun West at the 9th Senate. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
All right. I should say Happy Independence Day to you as a Nigerian.
To you. Happy Independence Day.
All right, then. So, so far, how far? What do you think of the 60th Independence Day anniversary right about now? What do you make of our journey so far from 1962 now?
Well, let me first of all use this medium and opportunity to congratulate all Nigerians, most especially the citizens of Ogun State, on the 60th anniversary of the country. It's a great feat when you achieve a milestone of 60, but also while we celebrate the attainment of 60 years, it's also a time for us to reflect the country. Because by the time you're 60 in adulthood, you should be a grandfather by now. And hopefully you should have achieved, you should have even given, spun so many other achievements in the course of your journey. For me, it's good and bad. It's good and mixed in the sense that, yes, we are 60. We thank God. Some people don't live up to 60. We've been able to stay together as a country. We're united. We are forging ahead. But at the same time, I look back and I also look at all the opportunities and also the promise of our forefathers that we are yet to attain. You know, there are times when you look at the early years and you look at our forefathers and you look at the confidence, the promise, the swagger, just the eloquence in which they forge ahead to constitute and create this country. And you look at where we are now, there's a big difference both in our educational standards and its things. Right now we're dealing with the insecurity is a major issue, challenge for us now in this country. The massive unemployment of our youth is something that is very worrisome to me at this point, especially if you go to the north. I mean, if you see the level of poverty in the north and the mass level of unemployment and unemployable youths, not only just unemployment, it's also quite worrisome. So it's a moment for us to reflect, to dedicate ourselves, to continue to work hard and challenge ourselves to live up to the promise of this country. It's a great country. It's a great country that has a lot of potentials and all that. But I believe that definitely we in the leadership, entrusted with the leadership position, should set good examples and dedicate ourselves more to make sure that we uplift more lives out of poverty in this country and fulfill the promise of this country.
All right. Your words to Nigerians as they go about with the hope that things will get better for the future.
Well, definitely. I do believe that things will get better. I mean, yes, there's no country that does not have its challenges. We just have to continue to commit ourselves. We continue to dedicate ourselves. We continue to look at the wrongs and try to make them better. Where we think we're falling short, we try to correct them. We need to strengthen our institutions. We need to stem corruption out of our system. We need to improve our education, because really the key to getting out of poverty is education, really. And we need to create more, provide more opportunity, educational opportunities for our youth. Then we also look at in terms of skill development.
Okay.
Right now, even if you look at the job situation globally, it's a challenge all around the world. Technology has also dislocated a lot of people in terms of jobs. So definitely skill development, skill attainment is another area that we have to really focus on as a country in order to empower youths and also give people the opportunity. And then we have to obviously develop more of our agricultural sector, which we've been blessed in terms of land. So really, the path is clear for us. It's just our dedication and commitment to these areas that's going to get this situation that we're in.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Senator Tolu Odebi, a current and a serving senator as we speak. He represents Ogun West at the 9th Senate. Thank you very much. Happy Independence Day once again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and happy independence to everybody. God bless.
All right. So we just had Senator Tolu Odebi right there speak with us via the telephone to also weigh in on the topic of the conversation as we speak right about now, and that's the fact that 60 years after 1960, so far, how far? You can also jump in on the conversation on Facebook at Splash FM 1067, at Splash FM 106. We have more tweets.
Yeah, okay. So reading from Oluwatosin Oyedele, a 60-year-old man that is financially and naturally endowed to succeed will be regarded as a failure. Does Nigeria have every resources to succeed except right leadership? Yes. Are those resources well utilized? No.
Okay, we have quite some comments on Facebook. I will get to them right about now. Dan Oluonosoya on Facebook says, Nigeria at 60. We are still the same. So sad. I don't know why Mr. President is comparing Gambia to Nigeria. A safe standard of selling us fuel is sold at this price in Saudi Arabia. Why should it be sold less in Nigeria? Was this what he promised us as a nation during his campaign in 2015? May God help us. Bolu says, good morning. Well done. Happy Independence Day from Ibadan. Thank you for watching us all the way from Ibadan. Let's come back to you, Chief Sarafadeen Ishola. In terms of our relations to other countries of the world and the outlook, Nigeria, would you say the world?
Taken as the largest economy South. Okay. What the issue of poverty capital of the world? This poverty rate over percent. Some have been responsible for life from South Africa, Zimbabwe, and so on and so forth. And in terms of regional stability, who at Liberia or Sierra Leone, we have ensured stability along the West African sub-region. And in the West Coast, the western part of Africa today, we are still seen as the regional power. It might interest you to note that in terms of GDP, in the West African subcontinent today, our GDP is still about 50% of total. You are quite aware that in spite of being referred to as the poverty capital of the world, when we shut our borders, our neighboring countries, they felt the impact, and they are even still feeling the impact now, saying that these borders must be open. The Nigerian market is one of the biggest markets in the world. The poverty capital of the world has to do with per capita income. And per capita income is something that is based on the total number of the population. But sometimes you discover that what you see on ground does not even sometimes relate to the reality and the actuality on ground. Of course, there are challenges, but I don't want to believe that Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world to the extent that the situation is so bad. If we are referred to, the situation will have even been worse than this. We have challenges, no doubt about that. So I strongly believe that the Nigeria is a great country. The potentials are great, and the people are also great. And like I said, the areas we have done well, let us work on them. But those areas that we need to improve on, let us also work on them. And the areas that we need to, it's very simple. Agricultural production and skills acquisition. Once we work on those two issues, I'm sure that we will make a drastic improvement.
All right. Well, let's take it back a little more. Let's examine the Nigerian Civil War from May 30, 1967. There's declaration, the secession of the three states then under the control of the Eastern region. Many still feel the hurts and casualties from time to time and are still largely left unaddressed. The evidence that is usually mentioned is the fact that the region has still not produced a president, and they feel that there's a deliberate attempt as a means to punish them in that regard. How do you react to that?
Well, I've told you one thing, one of the drawbacks of democracy is the rule of majority. And when you are aspiring for any position, this feeling cut across. It happens in many states. You discover that in so many states of the Federation in the last 21 years, even if you add 4 years of Second Republic to it, that's in 25 years of civil democracy. Some senatorial districts have not been able to produce governors across Nigeria. So is it is it on account of war in ravaging those states? You get to your state, or you get to some other states in Nigeria, and the rest of them, you have that. So the issue is democracy is about rule of the majority, and anybody that aspires to be president, you have to reach out to all the constituent parts of Nigeria, and you must be accepted. There is nobody in Nigeria that has been president on account of the fact that yes, this is the way, this is what you should do. From 1999, the issue of rotation was adopted by PDP as a party, but that along the line too was jettisoned, and so it's only when parties do that. Anybody that wants to be a president in Nigeria must be president of Nigeria. It can only be, you can't be Yoruba president, you can't be Igbo president, you can't be Hausa president. You have to be president of Nigeria. It's only presidential candidates will come, will show up in the election, will canvass votes. You have to go to every region and every zone of Nigeria and tell them how your own tenure will affect their existence. Of course, they have the votes. So in a bid to do that, or to expect that you have power served a la carte on account of sentiment, that will not happen. Just like it will not happen in some states. Even in some southeast state of the southeast that we talk about today, you will have some senatorial districts.
Oleko Mustafa, Senator representing Ogun East at the 9th Senate. Good morning to you. Happy Independence Day, Senator.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay. How are you? How do you feel about today's independence?
Well, happy that at least we are witnessing the 68th anniversary of the independence of Nigeria.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. From 1960 till now, that makes 60 years that has been celebrated today. What would you make of that journey so far?
Well, it's been
Would you say that the good or the bad, or which one outweighs which, or which one outweighs what in the both of them that I just mentioned for you?
Which one is what?
You said there have been good and there have been bad and there have been the ugly. Which of the categories outweighs the others for you?
Well, I don't want to say that they are almost equal. I don't want to say that they are almost equal, but of course, we've had the dark days of the Civil War in the country. Then one would feel that Nigeria was able to overcome the Civil War. And I think the brightest part of it has been the years that we have been practicing democracy. Even though democracy before 1999 it has been still between 1999 and today. Well, a few things have been done, but a lot, we still have a lot to do. We have a very long way to go to be able to really show that yes, this democracy has been beneficial to the people. Because today you see that there's so much hunger in the land. A lot of people are unemployed. And when people are not employed, even those who are employed will be sleeping with an eye closed. You cannot sleep with your two eyes closed. When if you are in affluence and your next door neighbor is in want, so it has to be, this is a very major area that has to be attended to by government.
All right. So Senator Leko Mustafa right there, Senator representing Ogun East. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation today. 60 years after 1960 so far, how far? We appreciate you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
All right. And so we just spoke with Senator Leko Mustafa there, Senator representing Ogun East right about now in the Senate. We have a tweet and we should read that right about now from Akindele Sadiq Olaiwola. And he says, Happy Independence, Nigeria. And he says, looking back from 1960 till date, Nigeria has truly not remained the same, but the rate of progression is too slow. Maybe the slowest in the entire West Africa, solely because of bad governance and selfish leaders. I'm sure you want to react to what Akindele has said. He feels the rate of progression is too slow.
Yes, I also agree that the rate of progression is too slow. But what is really responsible for this is the way our republic have been truncated. Development of nations has to be orderly. If you look at the First Republic, the trajectory within which those leaders started and embark on development was such that it was really, 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 in spite of the political challenges, they were very orderly. Through cocoa, we were doing a lot of things. Through groundnut, we never had, the oil was even not an issue then. But when that First Republic was truncated, then whatever plan they had along the line got truncated with it. Then we went into military rule. From that military rule, we went into civil war. And by 1970, it was still a continuation of military rule. And military rule by nature, as has been acknowledged in many parts of the world, what their major concern is usually the security of the nation. So orderly development has not really thrived much under the military rule because they are concerned more about peace and stability. And it's only when that one is guaranteed that you are even talking of development. Then, of course, the Second Republic came. That one, too, was truncated. And at each stage of this republic being truncated, it has consequences. So the only time we've had stable democracy, it is this one that we are in now. And I still want to challenge our youth you are the asset of any nation, because the old elderly ones are more or less going. As the asset of this nation, make sure that you engage yourself in citizens' development. Citizen development is when every human being is developed. That is when we talk of the nation development. And to achieve this is very simple. Make sure that you put the right leaders in position who can chart the course of development. And to say that, yes, the leaders have capability, but it's the kind of leaders that you put in position that will have to run programs. So that's the thing. But I strongly believe that with the way things are now, we've gotten to a situation whereby citizens' consciousness is getting to a level that democracy is taking its firm root. Look at the Edo election in recent. Whole pricing. And I strongly believe as we move on, things will get better.
All right, we have a comment here on Facebook. Olale Kondasaolu says, Nigeria at 60. The leadership system has failed this country greatly. A typical politician and someone who has served in one capacity or the other would not spot any fault in this drifting towards and failing society. In every parameters, we're not moving forward as a nation. For instance, peace is elusive amongst its component tribes and region. Economy is bad in terms of unemployment and underemployment, institutional failure, judiciary that is highly compromised, poverty rate so high, and many more. I thank you so much for sending that, Olale Kondasalu. We have to wrap up this very. Before we let you go, Chief Ishola, you would be 60 on the 25th of November this year. So you can equally also tell us what it feels like to be 60.
Well, we give glory to God. I always like to talk from religious perspective.
Okay.
I was born as twins. My twin sister died at the age of 3 months. And in my family, we have people who are younger that were already dead. Those of us who are mates, classmates in school that died already. So that I'm still living, I give glory to God. And of course, the 60 years in the life of any human being has been quite challenging. But looking back now, I keep on thanking God for those things that God has given to me. I always believe that it's not by hard work, it's by the grace of God. So my own, talking about my own experience, there are certain things that are important for one to be successful in life. One is hard work. Even if it's doing anything mania, if you work hard, you have a breakthrough. The Dangote of today that we hear, even though his uncle happened to be a rich person, but he started by selling sweets. He still tells the story. The MKO that we so much revere today started as a hewer of wood. So people must have a story to tell. I've talked about my own story too. Things for my mother, and I wash toilet. So when you look at it today, happily, I'm happy with myself, and I'm happy to even be born in Nigeria. And I want to say that even if I will be born a million times, I want to come as a Nigerian, and I want to come through my parents. Because I must also thank my parents for what they have been able to do to me. And I take this opportunity to challenge every parent. If you father a child or you mother a child, you have a responsibility to make sure that child is brought up in such a way that it will be useful to himself, to his parents, and to the society at large. Thank you.
All right, we'll have to call it a wrap on the show right about now. Thank you so much for joining us, Chief Sarafadeen Tunji Ishola, an ambassador designate. It's been, quite a whole lot of things, or several offices that he has held in times past. And he, at some certain point, was a former Minister of Mines and Steel Development between 2007 and 2008. And of course, he was a former secretary to the government of Ogun State between 2003 and 2007. I also understand I have to do justice to some titles that you bear, and some of them being the fact that you are the Tayeshi of Egbaland or column of Bagura Babadin of Ogun State. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, listeners, for listening to me and for tolerating me in the last 1 hour or so. In the studio here, I also want to appreciate the kind of youths that I've met here. They are the ones that I have respect for, and I think you can lead the struggle of this generation. I wish you luck. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. So Panorama returns tomorrow by 8 a.m. as usual. I am Odera Otaru.
Let's also thank someone who has facilitated this, the Kaide Adidij, the founder of Pen Pushing Media. We appreciate you so much. Panorama makes a return tomorrow, like Odera rightly mentioned. We'll have an infomercial right after this. Of course, you would have a blast listening to us today, from Jawasi to Splash Extra to Komaro to Juabe, even to the reggae chat late at night. You can be sure that we'll have all of those important guests to join in the conversation. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Happy Independence Day.